And that's going to lead us into our first bit of the presentation, which is what's new in Jonas Cloud Management. Okay, so the first slide I want to show you guys is actually pretty near and dear to my heart, possibly because I created the videos and I added them here for you, but it's also because I want you to know that we now have our help videos available directly in Jonas. Okay, so you can use the YouTube channel, but you can also access these videos when you're in a program in Jonas. This is really exciting news. And so I'm going to bring up Jonas. Let me just log in here. Okay, so in order to find a video, you're just going to navigate to the program within Jonas. So we're just going to go into the member file. Okay, and what you're going to do is look for this video icon in the top right-hand corner of the menu program. Okay, if you see a video icon, that means that there are videos available for this program. So simply click on that video icon, and it's going to list however many videos we have available that are related to that program. Okay, all you have to do is click on the video, and it will launch it in your default web browser. And we've even got some videos throughout some of your button programs as well. I'm just going to turn the volume down on my computer there. Okay, so for example, in billing, again, you have that video icon. So all of the videos that you see will be relatable to the program you're in. Okay, so I'm going to exit out here. So we have lots throughout the system, and I will be adding more as we go, as we create new videos. So again, definitely take advantage of using those videos. Okay, while I'm in here, I just want to point out as well, for those who might have noticed, in the toolbar at the top or bottom, depending on your view in Jonas right now, we've retitled the Help Docs button over to Help Resources. Hey, this is definitely another area I want you guys to take advantage of. If we go into Help Resources, we've revamped this a little bit as well. We have access to the latest enhancements for you guys. So a lot of what we're covering today, you're going to find that in the latest enhancement notes. Okay, video library, that's going to take you over to our YouTube channel. So again, like I said, definitely feel free to favorite and subscribe so you can have access to all our current and new videos. System maintenance resources, I'm going to go ahead and click here. Okay, this is going to open you up to our system maintenance and resource page. Okay, you do have a checklist that you can download, and I've added that as a handout for you guys, as well as video links, and I'll just actually show you what this checklist looks like. Okay, so in here, it actually walks you through what we recommend as your maintenance for weekly, monthly, yearly, daily. Okay, you can have someone sign off on it, and we can go ahead and you can actually use video links that are associated to that cleanup as well. Okay, we also have club management documentation, which is our F1 help for Jonas, and activity management and construction, depending on the modules that your club has with us. Okay, in here as well, there is a video icon. So this one is great because it has your general help for Jonas, such as how to run those F9 lister reports, how to find help throughout Jonas. And for those who might not have known, we do have a POS training mode. Okay, so again, definitely take a look out for those videos throughout Jonas. Okay, so I'm just going to bring our slides back up here. So I do have videos for these, basically just telling you how to locate those videos, and I'll be posting those soon. As well as the help resources, I have a new toolbar video walking you through the whole Jonas toolbar, so keep an eye out as that will be posted very shortly. So that leads me into what's new in point of sale. Okay, quite a few elements here. The first one is the design your own form. We've added a new chit element. Okay, so for those who might not be aware, we do have a design your own form program, that lets you design chits, preps, gift receipts, and emails. And you actually have the ability to customize what fields you want displayed on those printouts. Okay, so the new field we added for the chits is the original price. So if you can see that in the screenshot at the bottom of my slide here, it's going to show specific discounts with their original price on the chit. Okay, so it might be handy based on what you need on your chits. So we now have the ability to ignore pending online orders in the end of date update. Okay, so this is a new field we've added in the system parameters. As you can see at the bottom of the menu here, we just flag ignore online order queue pending orders. So what that means is when you are running your end of day update, it's going to ignore any orders that you have in the queue that have not been processed yet. Okay, so if you do use this flag, of course, we just recommend that you do go and do your end of day update by backdating the terminal to the previous date so you can run it for all of those orders that hadn't been processed yet. Okay, the online ordering outlets, we've added the F2 lookup toggle. Okay, also we've added some GIFs through the presentation just to make it a little bit more fun for you guys to view the slides. Okay, so in many of the programs throughout Jonas, there is a toggle button that lets you pick and choose basically what information you want seen on the screen. So the toggle for the example here is just showing you active versus inactive outlets. Okay, so it just makes it easier to select which outlet you want. So also with online ordering, we've added the ability to suppress the now button for your members online. Okay, so I know, with the whole pandemic, things changed in our world. A lot of things have gone online, but just because they've gone online doesn't mean we want a member to place an order and show up at the club 5 minutes later expecting their, steak and potatoes to be done. Okay, so what we've done is we've added this field, suppress now orders online. Okay, if you can see that in the screenshot in the bottom left-hand corner. And this works in conjunction with your order ahead. Okay, so the way it works is if you use this function, it's going to suppress the now button on the online ordering module online for your members, and they won't be able to click it. Okay, and the way the ordering takes it into consideration is it considers the prep time for the order and the current time, and it will round that current time up to the first quarter of the hour, so like 12:15, 12:30, 12:45, 1 o'clock. Okay, so for example, if the prep order is, let's say, 15 minutes and it's currently 1:54 p.m., the first available future order time will be 2 o'clock. Okay, so they literally won't be able to place their order until 2 o'clock. So it just gives you guys a bit more time to prep their order for them. POS courses. Okay, so this is a big one. I know there's been a lot of asks for this and a lot of excitement. Okay, the course codes, are a way of actually using courses in your POS chit entry screen as opposed to putting those course separators. Okay, so for example, if you've got your appetizers, entrees, and desserts, and your guest wants to add their entire order at once, you can put everything in and it's going to have an indicator of what items are associated to what course. And we've got a new fire course button that actually allows you to fire the applicable course to the printer. So you can just fire appetizers. You can just fire your entree. Okay? And there's also the ability to change courses. So, the member who likes to order the garlic bread as the appetizer, but actually wants it as a second course, you have the ability to switch the course for them. Okay, so we do have a video available that walks you through the entire setup, the entire process of courses. But since you're here joining us today, we'd love to give you just a quick demo of what the courses look like and how they're set up. Okay, so we're going to start in the point of sale system. There is some printing setups that need to be done, but again, all that's covered in the video for you. So where I'm going to take you is over to System Setup, and we're going to go right into Setup Courses and Course Codes. Okay, so your courses are linked over to partitions, so just make sure you go ahead and select the partition for that. Okay, and then you can go ahead and set up your codes. Okay, so it really depends on how you guys want to set it up. For your codes, I would just suggest making things consistent, right? So either do appetizer, entree, dessert, or you can do, course 1, course 2, course 3. Okay, so let's go into our course example. So you go ahead, create all your courses. You have settings based on what's going to appear on your prep versus what's going to appear on your POS order entry. Okay, just a couple things I want to point out is the course display indicator. This is the code that's actually going to display on the POS chit entry screen for your servers. So they know that any items with a 1 beside it means that that is associated to course 1. Okay, you can do letters too if you want to put A for appetizer, E for entree. Hey, again, just try and keep it consistent so it's easier for your service to follow. Course gets fired. That field flag just enables the course to be fired. And highlight item until fired. This is a cool feature because if you select this, the item will be highlighted on the POS chit entry screen until you fire it over to the printers. Okay, so just a nice visual cue for your servers. After you've set up your codes, you do need to assign sales categories. Okay, so we can do that in the top right-hand corner of our screen here. And when you're assigning categories, just note that this feature is similar to many of the other assigned features throughout Jonas. And for courses specifically, a category can only be assigned to one course. Okay, so as I mentioned, there is now a change course button that you can use to change a course from, say, course 2 to course 1. So what you want to do is assign the categories that will be most likely or commonly used for this course. Okay, so as I mentioned, you know, if you have appetizers assigned to course 1, but an appetizer is actually ordered as a second course, you can just simply change that over directly in the POS entry screen. Okay, so you come in here, assign all your sales categories for all your courses. I'm gonna exit out of here. And then you have your shift set up by area. Okay, so important to note that it is the shift the chit is started in that determines what course codes will be used for the duration of that chit. Okay, I had a little mix up this morning. Michael was fantastic, helped me out there. I realized my lunch hour started at 11 and our webinar started at 10 a.m. Okay, so it really is dependent on when your shift starts, on what courses you can use in the POS chit entry screen. These are all set up by sales area, and this actually opens the shift setup by area program for you, but it opens it up right in the setup courses. So you don't even have to leave the program to set this up. Okay, so there's my lunch. I started lunch at 6 a.m. for you guys, just so I could go ahead and show you what courses look like in the chit entry screen. Okay, so you would put a description for your shift, add a start and end time. And most importantly, you want to click this courses button. Okay, the courses button is where you're actually going to associate those courses over to the shift, sorry. Right, just to point out at the top here, you can change the color of the course indicator depending on what your preference is. And again, this is the highlight feature. So whatever my indicator is, it's going to appear in yellow until that course has been fired. Okay, and you also want to set what courses again are applicable for this shift. Okay, you do have to put at least one default, and then you can apply every other one that would be available for use during this shift. Okay, so I'm going to exit out of here. Okay, so once you've got that set up, I'm just going to show you guys quickly the menu buttons that we have available now. Okay, so if I go over into my quick setup menu design, I'm going to create open my course menu. Okay, so there's two new buttons available for use in association to courses. You've got the fire selected, or fire courses, sorry. And for fire courses, you can actually choose to select at POS, where your server is going to pick what course they want to fire. You can predefine that, saying this button is going to say, for example, as you guys can see here, fire course 1, 2, or 3. Or auto by prep sort, that just means that it's automatically going to have listed what the next course is. So if I've already fired course 1, the auto will say fire course 2. Once I fire course 2, it'll say fire course 3. So basically moves throughout your courses for you onto the next one. And once you sent all your courses, it'll say complete. Okay, the other option you have is the change course button. Okay, so this is the great one that actually allows you to change an item from one course over to another. And the options you have here are similar to the fire feature, where you can select at POS. So what course do I want to change this item to? And you also have predefined. So like in my example here, if I exit out, you can say change to the course that I've defined. Okay, so I'm just going to quickly show you guys what that actually looks like on the POS chit entry screen. We're going to go ahead and start a new chit. Okay, I've already got one in here just to show you guys. Okay, oh, and of course, oh, I think that was my old one. Sorry guys, I'm just going to bring that over to my other screen here. I apologize. Oh, I see, I'm logged into the wrong account. That was my bad. Okay, let me quickly log in here. And now I will show you the chit entry screen. Okay, so we're gonna go back over here. There we go. Okay, so if you guys can see on the left-hand side here, okay, so here's the course indicator we created. I have my course 1, course 2, course 3, and we've set that to be highlighted in yellow until the course is fired. Okay, again, just really handy for servers. It's those visual cues, and your buttons you can use accordingly. So I can fire select, so I can pick what course I want to fire. So maybe I want to fire off course 1. Hi. If you notice here, fire course changed right over to course 2. I can now go ahead and fire course 2. Hey, I can go ahead and change the course. So if I want to change this to course 2, hey, really cool features in here. Set up those courses, set up your buttons, and you can go ahead and utilize in the POS chit entry screen. Okay, so I'm just going to bring my presentation back up. Hey, so again, check out that video, guys. It walks you through the whole process, the setup, how to use courses, and we hope you enjoy that new feature. Okay, so we have another new button that you can use on your POS chit entry screen, and that's Send Selected. Okay, some of you may be aware that we already do have a resend button, but for some people, you know, with their servers, sometimes you may click a button that we we clicked accidentally, sorry. Okay, so the resend would resend an item that had already been sent. This new Send Selected button will not resend an item that's already been sent. Okay, it's going to prevent that duplicate send. So if you have servers that, you know, oh, I didn't realize I clicked that button. Okay, again, they can only send an item once. Okay, so definitely use this button if it works best for your club. Hey, close all chits for an event in cash or check settlements. So if you use our POS event management module, you now have the ability to create settlement types for cash or check. Okay? So if it works out that depending on the type of event you're doing and you don't want it to go right to member charge, hey, you can set up those settlement types. Then when you're in the close all event chits program, you can choose that settlement type override specifically for that event. Okay, so it's a great way to allow you guys to settle that event to individual members as opposed to settling to say one member and then adjusting per member afterwards. View dependents. So when you're in the POS screen, you have the option of adding the view dependents button, and this is just going to pull up the whole list of dependents for that member. Okay, the enhancement we made here is just basically to allow you to view all dependents that have been connected over to that member. Okay, and if Dwayne The Rock Johnson is one of your dependents, that's pretty cool. Great picture. Example, Michael, I wish, but okay, so just a way to see all your dependents there. All right, prep printing. Hopefully this might be exciting for a lot of you. Okay, we've added prep printing overrides, so you can actually set printers specific to your prep items. Okay, so this can come in handy, for example, if you have prep options, let's say for a Caesar salad of add chicken and no croutons. You can assign the hot and cold printers accordingly for each individual prep item, where add chicken might just go to the hot printer, but no croutons does not. Okay, so the prep printing override allows you to override those prep print settings that are associated to both the sales category and sales item. Now, by default, prep items will print on all printers that are associated with the sales item and sales category that the prep item is attached to. Okay, so in the screenshot in the bottom left, if you can see on my screen there, okay, if you are using the prep item override printing in the sales item program, you can choose to flag that field to not send all prep items to printers. Okay, so if this option is flagged, the prep items will only print the printing overrides that you put in place. Okay, so for the Caesar salad example, this is a great way for you to make sure not everything goes to the cold printers because that's what the sales category is set. Instead, the prep items will be associated to their override prep printers. So your chicken will go to the hot printer and your no croutons will not. Okay, maybe handy for your cooks who only need to know what's being prepared in the hot printers. Hey, but of course it depends on how your club functions, and we've just given you lots of options to choose what works best for you. Okay. FYI, you can pull reports for this as well using our F9 listers, as well as through the prep option menu design screen. Okay, so we have added a new standard POS chit design. So this is in the system parameters. You can go ahead and switch over to the new chit design. Sorry for that. Okay, it's similar to one of our existing chit designs, but this one allows you to show the discount on the chit. Okay, if you want to show the discount on the chit, just make sure, as you see in the screenshot here, we do need to flag the option. And once you switch your chit print program over to this design, you'll be able to see that discount directly on the chit. Okay, for those clubs that are on the line today that use levy balances, we've added a new flag in here for the ability to actually check the levy balance before sending over to the printers. Okay, so for this to work, again, just make sure the flag is checked. And when the option is enabled, upon sending an order to the prep printers, the system is going to sum up all currently open chits for that member and actually compare that balance against all active levy purses in order to determine if the current order can be sent to the prep printers or not. Okay? If there is not enough in the levy, a message will appear indicating so, and you have the option to override or cancel sending that through. Okay, so tea time management, we've got one new feature in here. I'm not sure if we have any golf pros or anyone who puts through tea time requests, but basically what we've done is we've saved you a bit of a keystroke in here. Okay, so when you're in the tea time reservation screen, and let's say, for example, you're making a request in the back office and you have different tea sheets open that take either the tea time request or waitlist request. Okay, what's going to happen is it's automatically going to default that request type over to a tea time request. Okay, so basically, again, just saves you that keystroke of having to switch that from waitlist or standby over to the tea time request. It's automatically going to have it there for you. Okay, Timekeeper, we have a few new things to show you in here. Throughout a lot of our Jonas programs, when you're viewing a program that has a grid, you do have the option to right-click and have some right-click options. Okay, we've added that to the Timekeeper Delete Schedules program, where if you right-click, you can choose to select all or deselect all rows in the grid, and you also have the ability to print this information. Okay, Shift Manager, for those of you who have Shift Manager, we've split the sync up into two separate parts. Okay, so a master sync, it's just gonna upload your staff and downloads of schedule data, versus a punches sync for downloads of clock in, clock out data from Shift Manager mobile devices. Okay, for those of you who are like, Shift Manager, I've never heard of that. What's that? Sounds great. Shift Manager is one of the new products we're working with, and it's basically a scheduling app. Okay, so we have a Shift Manager for managers, literally Shift Manager Pro for managers, that allows you guys to create schedules, you can view timesheets, approve requests, and we've got Shift Manager for your employees, where they can go on, they can accept shifts, they can put in their time off request, and they can even clock in and out directly from that Shift Manager app. Okay, I've actually thrown in a document in the handout section for you guys. If this sounds like something you'd be interested in or want to learn more about it, definitely take a look at that handout and reach out to your account rep, and they'll be able to provide you with a lot more information. All right, document management has been added to the staff codes program in Timekeeper. Okay, this can be super handy because you can actually attach documents to the staff accounts, for example, their employee contract or maybe their job description. Okay, and just know, in order to actually use this feature, you do need to have our advanced document management module. Okay, so if you're not familiar with the advanced document management module, it's a program that actually allows you to attach documents or scan documents right into Jonas. Okay, so like the example you see here with your staff accounts, and that way you don't have to worry about keeping the paper copy, because we have lots of paper nowadays. Okay, so you can load those right up into Jonas. It will also automatically save a lot of documents throughout Jonas, such as your member statements, audit trails, and chits right into Jonas. Okay, and you can look those documents up in the Document Manage program, or as you see in the GIF here, you can see them directly in the program. Okay, so definitely something to take a look at, again, if it sounds interesting and be useful for you guys at the club.
Here, we'll talk about the Accounts Payable module here next. First feature within accounts payable is the fact that once you create an invoice in the system, if you, for any reason, if you've input the wrong supplier code, you can change that supplier code now. You don't have to delete the invoice and create a new one. And you can also access that ability to change the supplier code from the supplier inquiry screens. So just a little bit of a time saver there, and that's going to be kind of a consistent theme as I go through a lot of these features. A lot of these are time savers. Time is money, so that's always a good thing to do. Next one is for the positive pay bank format. We've added another bank into the system here. If any of you are belong to Centennial Bank, that is now part of Jonas as well, so you can add that to your positive pay. Next thing here is one that I definitely wanted to highlight for, I would say most, or probably all the clubs out there. Doing system cleanups and maintaining your system is a big thing that we've tried to get a lot of clubs to do these days. Just because we know a lot of our clients have had Jonas for quite a long time, 5, 10, 15, 20 years. Some of our clients have been with us. And of course, over 20 years, you're gonna input a lot of different suppliers into your Jonas system, probably a lot of which you don't really do business with anymore. So just to clean up your list a little bit, we added a program where you can bulk deactivate suppliers. So I'm just gonna quickly go into our Jonas program here and show you exactly where that is. So if you wanna do this on your side, once again, you do have to upgrade your system to get this new feature. But once you upgrade, you can go under Accounts Payable, Files, and then we have this new program here called Change Supplier Status to Inactive. Very, very easy to use this program. All you're gonna do is show the suppliers not used since a certain date. So how far back you go is completely up to you. I'll just put, let's say, the beginning of 2021 for our example. And that will show you all the suppliers that you haven't used since that date. And we also give you the date last used there as well. So if there's a bunch of suppliers in here that you haven't used for a couple years, you're probably not going to use them too frequently anymore. So then you can always just turn on that flag for inactive and you can inactivate all of those old suppliers. Okay, very easy, very fast, and it'll only help you sort of clean up your list of suppliers a little bit. So no real downside to doing that. And just so everybody knows as well, this is kind of a common theme throughout Jonas. Whenever you deactivate something in your program, you can always reactivate that supplier and bring it back into Jonas. So really no harm in deactivating other than cleaning up your system and making it easier for you. Next feature here in Accounts Payable has to do with our edit logs. So in case you didn't know, we have these things called edit logs all throughout the program. We've just added a few more options within the Accounts Payable module specifically. But what edit logs do is they track basically any edit that you make within Jonas. So if you have one of your other employees go into Accounts Payable and edit one of your invoices, now you can go into the edit log and see exactly what change they did, when they did it, who did it. That's all tracked throughout our edit logs. So we've just added a few more to Accounts Payable here. Okay, next one is the administration module. And this first feature here that I'm going to show everybody, I think this is something that every club out there should be doing. Again, this is one of those things where there's no real downside to activating this at your club. It will only speed up your system. And it's called the Jonas Master Services. So this actually isn't anything new. We've had this for a little while now, but we're continuously adding programs to it. But what Jonas Master Services does, just to kind of get everybody up to speed here, is if you've ever noticed, whenever you click OK within Jonas, certain programs need a couple extra seconds to save that information and to process that information. What Jonas Master Services does is it takes all of that processing time and power and it does it in the background. So as long as these master services are on and activated, as soon as you hit OK to save something, it will save that immediately and bring you right to the next screen immediately. Okay, and in case anybody wanted to activate this on their side, we do have a very quick, I believe it's a 3-minute video on how to set this up at your club. Very simple. You can always contact support as well if you need any help with that. But again, a great way to speed up your system. And this particular feature that we added to Jonas Master Services was for your menu rebuilds, especially if you are going to get the mobile point of sale module, which is coming out very soon. This will take a lot of that processing power and do it in the background. Okay, moving over to club management. First feature in here has to do with the Setup Edit Member Shares program. Very simple addition that we've done here. We've just added a comments field. You can type any sorts of comments in there, and that will also show up in our share analysis trial balance report. So nice and simple one there. Next feature within club management is in regards to your member statements. If anybody uses the Jonas standard member statement, we've added 2 new fields in there. The first one being that you can change the naming convention behind your member PDF statements. So you can save that in any sort of format that you'd like. And you can also choose where or which folder you want to save all of those statements in. So if you ever need to go back and take a look at a member's statement from the past, now you'll know exactly where we save those and exactly how we name those files. All right, next one here is in regards to any club out there that has multiple clubs set up within your Jonas program. I know a lot of clubs do have that, in which case, if you ever use the change code button, which is not a new feature, we've had that one for a while, and all it does really is allow you to change the member number. But if you have multiple clubs within your Jonas system, this will ask you if you want to change that member number for all the clubs or just one specific club. This next one here is another one I definitely want to highlight for everybody out there, and I'm just going to go over into Jonas and kind of show you what you can do with this module. But this is another type of module where we're always adding things to it, and it's called a club automation module. And it does exactly what it sounds like it would do. It automates a lot of the processes that you would normally have to do on your own manually. And most of the options in there are reports, but there are a few other sort of processes that, again, you would typically do manually. You can have Jonas automatically take care of that at a certain time of the day. So we've added 2 new reports to that, the member visits report and the payment audit report. But just to show everybody sort of where this is within Jonas and all the capabilities of this program, just because I find a lot of clubs haven't really heard of club automation before. But the module is located under club management, club admin, and then we have club automation right down here. And I know specifically a lot of golf pros use this for the missing scores report. Again, if anybody hasn't entered their golf score online, you can run a report that'll give you a list of all those people. But through this club automation module, you can tell the Jonas system to run this at a certain time, and Jonas can also automatically email you that report, or it can print off that report to your printer, and again, at any given time. And just so you can see all the different options that you can do with the club automation module, these are all the different types of reports and processes that you can automate within Jonas. So lots of club management reports there. And you can go through this list on your side as well if you have this module. But club management reports, inventory reports, lots of point of sale reports you can automate. So I just definitely want to highlight that for everybody out there. We do have a club automation module. And again, we're always adding new features and new reports to that program as well. Okay, and moving on, the next one in club management is a new interface that we've added to the program, and it's an interface with the Jonas Quorum PMS software, which is more of a hotel type of software. And this integration is actually a really good one because not only does it send charges from the hotel software into Jonas, but there's a lot of other things that you can integrate. Just one example here is the last paragraph on the slide. It says, as long as you're using the Jonas standard member statement, Jonas Quorum can also send documents from the hotel software over to Jonas, and you can attach those documents with your member statements, and that can be sent out with the statements. So lots of little sort of hidden features like that with this interface with Jonas Quorum PMS. So if anybody was looking for a new hotel software, that's a great option now. Okay, and then this next one has to do with the installment billing program, which a lot of clubs use installment billing to handle member initiation fees. And so we've just added a really nice easy flag here that says suppress members with 0 balance outstanding. Essentially, if they've paid off their initiation fees, they won't be included in this report anymore. All right, and then we have the dues renewal mail merge program. So if you do send anything for in regards to dues renewals through the mail merge program, we just added a really easy flag there called also send to dependents if they want to get that message as well. All right, another thing to do with your member statements is as long as you're using the Jonas standard member statement format here, we've added the ability to do double-sided printing, which you did as long as your printer supports it. You did have that ability before, but we've also added that ability to when you send out your member chits for the month with your statements, that can also be double-sided printed as well. So again, as long as your printer supports it, you can do double-sided printing. Or of course, our preference would always be to email out those member statements, but if the members do want the hard copy, feel free to double-side print them. Okay, and this next feature has to do with your fee billings, and it's a little bit difficult to explain here, but I'll do my best. When it comes to your fee billings or your members' dues, you can set up your dues in a number of different billing frequencies, something like an annual fee or a monthly fee for your dues, very common. But you can also set up your billing frequency as other, in which case you can tell Jonas which months you want to charge which amounts. It's sort of up to you at that point. So if you are using the other billing frequency and you want to distribute that revenue into multiple GL accounts or multiple revenue accounts, you can now do that by amount rather than percent. It used to only be percent. So just another option for you. And then for the bank PAP program, which again, this is, I find, another program that a lot of clubs aren't super familiar with, but it's a great module. The bank PAPs or bank pre-authorized payments just allows you to pay off your member statements right from their bank account. And within that program, we've added a new report called the Bank PAP Exclusion List. And that will basically give you a report to show you all the members who weren't included in your bank PAP run for any given reason, and it'll tell you why they weren't included. All right, for all of our UK clients out there, we've added a new feature to the levy system, and it is for the purse threshold warning. So for if any of your members' levy purses are getting low, you can tell the Jonas system, what number would you consider getting low for their levy purse, and then if they are getting low, you can input a little message there, and that will pop up as soon as they try to ring up anything on the point of sale. All right, moving over to the general ledger module, I think just one really quick one here. If you build your fixed assets into the general ledger module, which again, if you didn't know you can do that, we do have a fixed asset program, but we've just added a new copy field in there. If you have a bunch of fixed assets that are very, very similar, we'll save you a bunch of time by just being able to click that little copy button and make a number of copies of that fixed asset. Okay, moving over to payroll, specifically Canadian payroll. This feature is actually available in both Canadian and US payroll, but as long as you're using one of those two check designs that are on the screen there, you can now sort those checks by surname. Very simple little feature there, but always a good thing to add, certain things like that. And once again, that was for Canadian payroll, but within the US payroll program, we have the exact same feature here. Again, only for those check designs that are listed sort of in the middle of your screen there, you can now sort those by surname as well. Okay, also within US payroll, we are always adding new fields to our report generators, but we've added a couple new fields in terms of measuring the number of days. So there's 3 different fields there. Just for an example, the first field that we've added tracks the number of days from your employee's hire date until a specified date. So just a couple fields like that to track the number of days. But again, we're always adding new fields in there, and we're always open to new suggestions as well. All right, and then coming to the end of US payroll here, we just a very simple one here. We added a little print button to the time and attend employee status inquiry program. So now not only can you print that information off, but with any print button that you get within Jonas, you can view that information, print it, view it in Excel, email it, whatever you want to do there, we've added that print button. All right, and then lastly within US payroll, if you print off employee labels, we now added just a very easy flag right at the bottom there to exclude salaried employees. Okay. Very simple. And just before we move on here, I know some of the attendees out there, they clicked on the button to raise your hand. Just in case any sort of questions come up or you're thinking of any questions in your mind, just a reminder, there is a questions box on your screen there. Let us know if you have any questions. We'll answer them either as we're going or at the end of the presentation today. But just let us know if you have any questions.
As product manager for Jonas Activity Management, I will be going through everything we've added in the last quarter with the changes that have been made. So we've added, as was illustrated in Jonas Club Management, where there's help videos available now. The same is true for Jonas Activity Management, or JAM as we like to call it. Within the J menu in JAM, you can get access to that help videos playlist through the help menu. So I'll quickly just run us through that. If you open up the J menu at the top, go to help, at the bottom of the list of the help modules, you'll see this help videos playlist. When you click on it, it's going to launch your default browser and take you directly to the YouTube page on which we have all of our help videos. So easy, quick to find. You can click on that link and it directs you immediately to that page in YouTube. So great resource that Alyssa's prepared, which will help you through any of the questions you have, especially if you have new users coming on and you're not familiar with any of the applications within it. Great resource to check out before they hit the ground running. Another setting we added is the ability to have a SMTP or email password of up to 75 characters. This was done specifically for clubs that are utilizing SendGrid as their mail provider, as they extended their password requirements. So we had to, in turn, make ours larger so that people could actually authenticate with SendGrid when sending out emails for confirmations or reminders or what have you within the Jonas Activity Management modules. Within our activity tracking module, which is seemingly more and more popular every week, although I don't think there's anyone on the phone that's using it, we added the ability for when doing manual check-ins, this is when a staff member is checking in on behalf of a member, to suppress the check-in confirmations. You can see there's a flag there within the monitoring area configuration where you can say, do not display check-in confirmation again. This would only suppress it in scenarios where a staff member is checking in on behalf of a member, not when a member themselves is doing a self-check-in, in which it's important that they see that confirmation of them being checked in because they don't have access to any of the reports that show who's checked in at a given time. We made some improvements within class scheduling. For those of you that are using class scheduling and you have a number of classes in the system, you've been using it for a lot of years, the booking log report would become quite slow because it used to be returning all of the classes that you hosted that had at least one registrant from the beginning of time until today. So what we've done instead is defaulted it to the current year. You can still access all previous years and even future years if you have registrations for 2022 already. However, it's going to default to the current year, and if you want to change to view classes from another year, just utilize the year dropdown and select the year you want to look at, and it'll return all of the classes in that class name dropdown. So just a small change to improve the performance of this screen when you load it initially. We've also modified the way in which classes can be configured, specifically with respect to start time, in that we're now allowing you to create them on the quarter hour. So previously, you only had the ability to set the start time at the top or bottom of the hour, but now you'll have options to set start times with end in 15 or 45 minutes. So you can see there from the dropdown, the class can start at 10, 10:15, 10:30, 10:45. The class duration has always been on a 15-minute interval, so we just wanted to link those two up so you could choose start times better, especially if you had an hour and 15-minute class that needed a class to start right after it, you wouldn't be able to select that start time previously. Now those quarter hour times are an option. Within Corp Booking, we've made numerous enhancements to a variety of reports. So the swaps report deals specifically with waiting list requests. So we added a waiting list within Corp Booking about 1.5 years ago, and that allows you, especially if you have busy ports, to have members submit requests or create requests on their behalf, and then automatically notifies them via email when they have an opportunity to accept an offer for a time that has recently become canceled for which they submitted a request. Now, in submitting that request, they have the option to swap an existing booking for that court type on that date. So they can say, you know what, I have a booking for court 5, but I'd really rather play on court 1. So they submit a waiting list request for court 1. And they say within that request that I want to swap an existing booking. Now, this could be because they can't have multiple bookings per day, or they can't have multiple bookings at the same time. So they say, you know what, I want to swap that court 5 booking for my court 1 booking, should I get it? So in those circumstances, we've added a report which will capture all the details of those swaps. And it can be filtered on a variety of criteria: activity type, one or many or all court types, a date range, even specific days of week. and even specific ranges of time during a given day. So you can set up all those filters, and when you do generate the report, it's going to look something like this, where it's going to provide you with the people who are on the booking, so the players, the date they swapped, the court they swapped, as well as the date and time that their resulting booking was made, and the resulting court that came of that swap. And then, of course, lastly, the date of the swap. So when did the swap take place? So when did they actually execute the acceptance of their offer, in which case their new booking replaced their old booking. So just a way for you to keep track of people that are swapping bookings if that's something you wanted to be aware of. We also made some additional enhancements to the court audit report. So we made a number of them earlier this year or late last year, where we gave you the ability to filter by day of week and time of day. But now we've added the ability to select one, many, or all court types when you're setting up the report. So you can see there, by default, all are selected, but you can select some, you can select one, but you have some options there in terms of which court types are included in the report. And then we also added the repeat inflow on each line. And that's useful in cases where you're exporting this report into Excel, doing some further analysis, and you want to do things like sort and filter. You're going to have that court type information, that court information on every single line. So it'll make it easier for you to analyze it further should you need to export it to Excel. We've also added a few new data points to the enterprise report generator. So if your club is in the habit of creating its own reports as opposed to using the canned ones we already have, by way of enterprise report generator, we've added 3 new data points relating to sort of a log on when the booking was created, when it was last edited, and when it was canceled. So just those 3 data points can be added to any any court booking type of report. And again, if it's never been edited, then it'll have an NA, and if it's never been canceled, it'll have an NA. However, if it is edited or canceled, those date time values will be populated in the fields should you add them to a given report. From a court privilege standpoint, we introduced a couple of enhancements that are designed around assisting clubs with clubs where they don't necessarily want to limit how many bookings a member makes per se. They want to limit the number of future bookings that a member is holding at a given time. So if you look down below at the bottom of the screen in the highlighted portion there where I've highlighted disregard past bookings, this is a feature you can set on any of your booking limits, either per day, per month, per week, or per year. And effectively what it says is, I don't care about any bookings that have where their start time is in the past. I'm only concerned with future bookings in terms of counting how many bookings a member has. So if a member is allowed to book once per day, but that one booking was at 8 o'clock this morning, it's now in the past. So if as a member, if I wanted to make another booking for today, not a problem, because we're disregarding any bookings in the past. Same thing works for week, month, or year, in that I'm only going to count the number of bookings they have that are from this moment forward toward their limit. So we also did a similar change to disregard same-day booking. So again, if you're only allowed 3 per week and you booked Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday of this week today, and that booking you make another booking for later today, that booking you make for later today, because it is a same-day booking, it's not going to count towards that limit. So your 3 per week is not going to be infringed upon, and you'll be able to make that booking. And like I said, if you're really not concerned about past bookings and you're really only concerned about members making multiple bookings, occupying times, taking away from other members having the opportunity to book, then these are the kind of settings you want to put in place where who cares about those previous bookings? I'm really only concerned about anything that's happening in the future. Or if a member books today for the same day, there's no sense in counting it. We're going to allow members to do that because, again, it would maybe just be an unutilized court time since it hasn't been booked up until this point anyway. We've also given some more options in terms of set hours by time of year, which is configurable at either the court type or court facility level, where you can set up a schedule that is dependent on the date range. So if you have, seasonal schedules where you close a little earlier in the winter than you do in the summer, given the fact that a court is unlit, you would use this feature to set up the schedule. What we've done is we've linked the schedule start times to the interval on the court so that you can have start times that more closely reflect that interval. So if your court interval is 10, 30, 60, or 90 minutes, we'll give you a scheduled rate of 30 minutes. If your court interval is 5, 15, 45, or 75 minutes, the grain on this schedule, and you can see from the example, will be 15 minutes. And what that allows you to do is to set a start time that's either on the hour or the quarter hour, or depending on the interval, it could be the half hour, or if you're using a squash court and you have a 20-minute or 40-minute interval, you can set that start time on the 20 or 40 minutes. So just some more flexibility in terms of setting up your schedules in terms of the start time based on the interval of the court. We've also added a feature to the activity court type utilization report. So this is a report we introduced earlier this year, probably back in January or February, which is really the granddaddy of them all in terms of reports. It really can provide you with a real large amount of summarized information by activity types. That would be sort of like the sport. If you have multiple types of tennis courts under one sport called tennis, you can evaluate them all and roll that data up to the tennis sport type. But we've added a feature where you can now detail blocks by employee. So we call it employee because you're going to be assigning that block to a staff member who's eligible in tennis, but what that can be used to do is for things like maintenance blocks. If you want to see all the utilization that was attributable to blocks put in for maintenance, if you have periodic maintenance on your clay courts or grass courts and you wanted to track that, you can set up an employee named maintenance and then have all of the blocks that are created for that purpose assigned to that employee, and then that information would be detailed in the block section of this report. So you can see here in my case, in the report I produced, it was actual employees, Jonathan Power, Andre Agassi, and Arthur Ashe. But if you did use something called maintenance, you created a staff member and assigned it to them, that would be available within there too. So it's just a way to get more detail on those blocks that have been added to the courts to see what they're actually being used for. So a nice feature if you're looking for that kind of detail on the block utilization. Moving on to dining reservations, we've added some data points or a data point to the dining reservation reports in Enterprise Report Generator. So again, if you're using Enterprise Report Generator to create custom reports, we've now added the internal note. So we added the internal note probably a little over a year ago. That allows you to add notes to a booking that don't appear to members within their online reservation. It's purely for internal purposes. You don't want to expose that to the members. You can say basically whatever you want without any fear of reprisal on that internal note. And you can add it to the reports generated by Enterprise Report Generator to include that information. If it's important to the servers who are going to be handling that night's dinner service, you may want to have special notes on there that you don't necessarily want to show to the members, but you do want to show to your internal staff so they can adequately prepare for that service. So we made some more enhancements in event management. I know this is going to be important to a lot of you because many of you are using this module based on that survey result. And one of the newer features we added, it was just maybe last month in May that we added it, or 2 months ago I should say, is the ability to add an event URL to the event. So what this allows you to do is if you're hosting any meetings virtually due to pandemic type restrictions, or if it's just going to be going forward, something you host through a video conferencing app like Zoom or Google Meet or what have you, you have the ability to include that meeting URL in the facility line for the event. What's nice about this too is that it can be included in the confirmation that's sent out via email, so that when members get that confirmation, they'll see that URL and they can paste that into their browser and join the meeting when it's time. In addition, if you are sending out ICS files attached to your confirmations, which is an option we provide, that URL would be included in the ICS file. Now, it's important that I say, in order for this to be included on the registration forms, you'll need to add that data point to your registration forms. Now, I don't know how many of you are familiar with the report designer or the form designer rather, but it is a little bit of a difficult tool. So I would suggest that you contact our support team and log a ticket with them to have that added to your form, as opposed to trying it yourself, because like I said, it is quite a difficult program to work with. But with that said, let's go through the process of adding that to a given event. So I've already added it to my July 31st event, so I'm just going to show you where that is by editing it. And you can see my July 31st event is a club hosted event. It's a registration event. If I go into facilities, you can see here there is this event URL column within which I've added my Google Meet meeting URL. So now if I were to go and register for this event, just close this off. If I go register for this event, actually we're going to cancel my first registration so that I can actually register again. If I put myself in and register for this event, I'm going to receive an email confirmation. Mine's going to ask me if I want to send it. I'm going to say yes. And then when the registration is complete, I will receive an email notification just like any of the other ones in the system. Over here, and there's my registration. you can see the email also now includes this event URL. So that's something that I added into my form designer. And again, like I said, if you want to execute something like this, my advice is to contact Jonas support, and they'll be more than happy to log a ticket and get that added to your. We've also, with respect to those confirmations, is added the ability to configure a subject line. So previously, I should say, it was a hard-coded subject line for all of the email confirmations. Now it is fully configurable for all of them, whether it's a new booking, you're editing a booking, you're canceling a booking, creating a new waitlist, or updating the event or canceling the event. You can put a specific email subject line in there. If it's blank, don't worry, the same hard-coded message will, or hard-coded subject will apply that applied previously, but you have the ability to override that and add a subject of your choosing within the messages that you send out. We've also made a change to event service discounts. So at the service type level, you're now able to add a discount. And then you can see from this button down here on the bottom right, you have the ability to apply that service type discount to all service items, irrespective of when they were added. Prior to this change, if you added a discount up at the service type level, only new service items would be subject to that discount. That can still be the case, provided you don't hit this button, but you will have the option to use that button to apply that discount to all service items of that type. So let me show you how that works. Just close out of this, and we'll go into my Smith Jones wedding, and we'll go into the services tab. So you can see here I have no service type discounts, but I do have an amount discount on this roast pork line of $100 currently. So if I went into the discount and I said 10%, right now that discount is only going to apply to new items I add. So if I add Atlantic salmon and specify a quantity of 100, it's going to apply a discount of $189.50, which is equal to 10% of the total based on this 100 times $18.95. However, if I were to hit this button, what's going to happen is it's going to override any existing discounts and apply the 10% discount. So you can see this $100 discount I've applied on the roast pork loin will be overridden when I hit that button. And it'll prompt me to make sure I want to do that, and then immediately you see that discount changes to $129.50. And the button becomes disabled until such time as I change this value to say 12%. And now anything new I add will automatically be applied the 12% discount, or I can click the button and again execute that to become a 12% discount on all of these items. So just a nice feature to expedite the process by which you apply service type discounts to all the items if you want to do that, while still maintaining the existing functionality where it will only apply to new items added. So it gives you a choice to quickly add a discount or just leave it as is and proceed as you normally would.